What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kinky Politics. I am your host, Kai, and unfortunately, Chris is not here with us today. Vacation. God bless him. Wish we were on vacation as well. But we've got a special, very special guest. One of my closest, best friends from college, who I've seen and who has seen me grow. And, we've been to weddings together. He's come to my wedding, photographed my wedding, and supported me through so many things. And, now he's got 3 kids and an amazing career, a beautiful wife. And they're moving from their lovely home in Los Angeles and Anaheim to north of Sacramento. And he's here with us now to discuss gender reveals. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for that introduction. I was like, oh man, my life is pretty cool when you say it like that.
It is.
It is a great life. I'm not going to brag too much about it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. But it's always so good to talk with you. It's so easy to speak with you about various things. You're knowledgeable about so many things, but also you're just fucking great to shoot the shit with,
Thanks, friend. You too. Yeah.
Thank you. So today, you're a photographer. And
I am a photographer, yes.
Yes, a wedding photographer, headshot photographer, pet photography. He does theaters and shows. He's been working for repertory companies for a long time now, but he's got a very diverse background. He's not sharing everything. But, we did a bunch of theater together. He's an incredible actor.
Thank you.
And so we won't forget about that. But as a photographer, this is the reason why I was like, shit, who could I have this conversation with? And I thought to myself, Jordan, because you see this shit all the time. But
I do.
I wonder, because I have my own opinions as like just a person who doesn't have kids and sees these gender reveals all over Instagram and Facebook. And I'm just like, whoa, what is it like as a photographer? Walk us through that. Tell us about that.
There's 2 parts to it. And it's funny because I live here in, like you said, Southern California. And recently there was an incident where a couple was doing a gender reveal and they chose to hire a photographer, and they did the reveal in a field. And anyone that doesn't know anything about California is we have a lot of dry spells, a lot of droughts that happen, and everything gets dead, and a single match cigarette can start wildfires. Well, obviously it wouldn't be a wildfire then, but just big fires, right? Mm-hmm. And this happened last year, and all because of a gender reveal. This couple went out to a field, photographer, they had a pyrotechnic like smoke device. It fell over, lit the field on fire, and within hours, everything was on fire on the mountain. A firefighter died fighting the fire. Many homes were destroyed. All because of a gender reveal, like this silly made up party, this imaginary thing that people want to do now, destroyed so many lives. And it makes you sad, and it makes you sick, and it makes you feel not very good, especially when it's someone in your line of work that is partly responsible. It's not a good feeling. And so there's that example I have for you as a photographer. But then I also read a lot of news. And so not only in California are bad things happening, but I have 2 more stories I can share just so people understand why there's controversy. This couple got an old, like ornamental, like just a decoration cannon, and they were going to shoot like smoke out of it, right? So they put the explosives in it, and when they shot it off, the cannon actually exploded. And some of the shrapnel killed one of the guy's best friend at the gender reveal. The exploding cannon, some of the pieces of it went and it penetrated his chest and killed him, right?
God.
And then more recently, probably like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, this father was making another kind of bomb device to explode dust, and it blew up in his face and killed him. So it's like, there's two things that are wrong with it. One is, why are people obsessed with explosives to begin with, like, or pyrotechnic devices for this? Like, a lot of people do it in safe ways, whether it's cutting a cake and the inside tells you, or letting out balloons, of whatever color that they want, which is silly in itself, because you're already, before the baby's even here, dictating gender. And we were talking about gender roles a little bit earlier. You're kind of telling this baby and the world things that you don't really know about your child, that they might not identify as male or female. And to start assigning them that kind of baggage before they're even born, I find there to be a problem with that, and a lot of people do. My wife and I, when our kids were born, we didn't find out what the gender was. We wanted to be surprised because, man, I'll tell you, there's not a whole lot of amazing moments in your life when your child is just born, fresh out of the oven of the womb, and the doctor tells you what it is. And the feeling you get when that happens is just, it's magic. And to like have that ruined by like some test you can take and you just get an envelope, and have the party, it's not as special. Like, it's just not as special to have a party where a cake tells you or an explosive tells you. But to be in that room and being told you have a baby girl or you're having a baby boy, it's real life magic right there.
Wow.
Sorry. So into that tangent. So it is becoming like, you're more likely to die by a gender reveal now than you are by like sharks. It's getting to that point. It really is, like, statistically, it's kind of funny. So that's my opening thoughts about it. It's just, I think it's kind of silly and unnecessary, and now it's becoming dangerous, literally, for people in attendance.
Yeah, it's interesting for me. It's like, when I think about like what happened with my, the person I think about is my own mom, having had 5 children. The way my parents found out about our genders was the same way you guys did it. They wanted to be surprised. So they named us all these friggin' unisex names, which were so
beautiful, amazing names.
Oh God,
it's fun. So many amazing nicknames that
I know, and it's just like, well, thanks. So sometimes I wonder, like, if my mom knew that I was a girl, maybe
would it change what she named you?
Yes, like, would she have cultivated something else? And I mean, she had English names for us as our middle names, and she had chosen both girl and boy names, and depending on what we were. But I always wonder about that, but I mean, I don't quite understand why. So I agree, like, going back to what I was just saying, I agree. Like, I mean, I come from the old school, like, way of thinking. I shouldn't say way of thinking, but old school time where, blues for boys and pinks for girls. And I'm used to that, and I don't have a problem if let's say I was having a kid and someone was like, in case you have a boy, here's a blue jacket, I don't like that kind of stuff. But, so, hopefully when I have a kid, I'd love to just have, like, prepare the nursery in all yellow.
Which people are doing, totally, or some other arbitrary color. Because even the assigning like colors is like, I think that's something to question too. Like, why blue and why pink? Like, why not red or why not purple? It's like, just more things to question. Yeah.
You're 100, and one of the reasons why too, I have been dying to have conversation with you is because you help me to think a bit more critically and a little bit more analytically. My ex-boyfriend, we won't talk about that. But so anyway, so yes, I agree with you. Like, what what, like it's better to know, I feel like it's better to know, once the child is born, because you really should only really be concerned with the health of the baby anyway.
100%. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's all we told whenever anyone asked us, like, oh, it's going to be, we're like, we just want a healthy baby.
That's
You know,
it.
what do you want? I don't care. As long as my baby doesn't have any, health issues or anything, what do I care?
What do
And
you,
that's always been, the truth. And we are extremely fortunate that our kids haven't had any issues, knock on wood,
Mhm.
yet, health issues. But that was our number one thing when people asked us, like, I'll have 3 girls, I'll have 3 boys, I don't care, but just that they're healthy and, you know, able to live in this world and be the best kid they can be.
And it's like ding, ding, ding. But it's like, the thing that I wonder is why now why now have we decided that gender reveals are so cool? They're so important. They're so necessary.
I have the answer for you for
Tell
that.
me.
Technology, it's all technology, because I think there's several facets to the technology part. One, it's that we can even tell. I don't know how many years it's been that we've been able to tell the gender before. I feel like it's the past maybe 40 to 30 years. I'm not 100% sure when they had like the blood test to be able to do it. But I know that I think my parents 30 years ago had the option to be able to
Yes.
know. But that might have been like the first time. So relatively speaking, in the entire existence of humanity, it's a blink of an eye that we've had the ability to be able to even tell before the baby's born what the gender is going to be.
Mhm.
So because it's only been, let's say, 30 years, we're still developing the new customs for knowing. And now that we have the medical technology combined, sorry if you're hearing our lovely people cutting the grass out there, but we have that medical technology combined with social media, because it's a thing to record everything and show the world how happy and great your life is by recording these moments. Yeah, is it for the mom and dad a little bit? Sure. But why are they making a big deal out of it? So they can show people, why the cake and the balloons and the party. And, it's one more thing to celebrate. And I get it. I get it. If people want a little bit of happiness in their lives and they want to create it,
Mhm.
okay, but I think it is worth questioning still why we do it, why you're doing it, as a parent.
I
And is it
mean, it's really not popular in other countries.
Mm-mm.
Gender reveals, so
It's an
I'm
American
with
thing.
you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying it's an American thing. I'm just adding mostly, yeah.
Yeah. There's a very small percentage, I feel like, of people in other countries that do these gender reveals, but it's really an American thing. You're right. And I would agree with you that, yeah, it's probably technology, but I do think that, I think at the heart of it, it's what you did say, which is, I think people are looking for an excuse to celebrate. So I do think technology is part of that, though, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that America is always, people in America are always looking for an excuse to celebrate because we're always working. So we're looking
Mm-hmm.
for a break,
It's true.
we're looking for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirk always says it to me. He's always like, every fucking holiday, you want to do something. Thanksgiving, Halloween, you always want to go full out, and I do, and it's like sweetest day, even though it's nothing,
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't get me flowers, and he's like, are you fucking kidding me, and
So
it's
funny.
true. It's like, I can't culturally, even if
Yeah.
I'm living in Australia, I can't seem to escape that mindset of, I'm always working anyway. I'm
Yeah.
constantly working.
Yeah.
And so why not celebrate? So I tend to think that it's a celebration but also our generation. I mean, we're millennials, and things have gotten harder for us. We Things are not
Don't
as
even get me
fun.
started. But yeah, you're 1,000% right. I mean, just the systems that were created that we have to live in financially, socially, they're all a mess. And they were created in such a way that we're in them, and it's hard to change them because we're also a part of it, whether it's debt that we've accrued that past generations haven't, or the amount of debt, whether it's credit card or student loan. Don't even get me started on that. But you're right. Yeah, we are looking for any reason to celebrate lives that are sometimes not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it seems like I feel like too, we're growing sicker and sicker as a culture, sicker in terms of health. I think we're getting wiser wiser and smarter with our technology and advancements in, the health industry, but I do still think we're getting sicker, and I do still think we're dying. And I do, and I don't have the actual statistics for this, but you can just kind of look around. You can step outside, look around. You can go into a doctor's clinic and look around and realize, wow, everyone's overweight, or wow, that person looks deathly ill. You know what I mean?
Well, the cancer rates are like exploding. That weren't at rates that they never were, decades ago. Autism, all these different things, these issues with humans. You're right. They're kind of exploding in numbers that they hadn't before, and a lot of that.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just thinking about this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's that we are giving, because we're getting wiser and smarter. We're able to give titles to things where things didn't have titles in the past.
That's true. I think that is part of it. I totally do. But I also think one of the other parts to that as well is being able to know what it's called and have a name for it and diagnose it is, just all the chemicals that are being put into everything, whether it's food or whether it's chemicals in our drink, like our waters, or
cleaning products.
Yeah, cleaning products. Yeah, they say the spray that they did a study on is inhaling some of the vapors is as bad as smoking 20 cigarettes in a day, as far as the damage it does to your lungs. So it's there's still ways that we're using chemicals that we have no idea what the long-term effects are going to be on our individual health and as our health as a culture. We've never been in a time as humanity where we've had such excess in some parts of the world, with sweets and sugar and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 100 years ago describing the daily intake for my kid, how much sugar they have in a single day? And we're not perfect with that, but yeah, that's definitely going to affect you, how much of these chemicals are going in your body too. Yeah.
And you're right. And I think, and just kind of going back to this whole gender rule thing, it's when I first saw it, I thought to myself, well, that's nice. They're throwing a party, everyone's getting together. It's kind of like another baby shower, but
it is like another baby shower. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. And in a lot of ways, it sort of reminds me of this new movement, which I haven't yet prescribed to, which is writing what you prefer to be categorized as, which is when you
he, him, she, her, that thing. Yeah.
I don't really care for that. But I know, in the same breath, I know why it's important for many people and why it first came about, or at least why I think anyway, which it has to do with transgender visibility. Am I right with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because again, you're asking someone who's probably in a similar boat. I think that there are some things that are so new that have been introduced that the idea is still catching up. People are still being, what am I trying to say? Introduced to that idea the first time. It's being told there's gay people the first time ever in your life. You're trying, when we tell our daughter, about, what it means to be gay. she's trying to wrap her head around it and she needs time to process it. And so yeah, it's like it's an idea, like having that. I understand what you're saying, like in your profile, your preferred pronouns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really new thing. Like I feel like that's like a past year kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it is like you do have to take a second to be like, wait, what are we doing now? Why are we doing this? And like, and then like you have to ask, like, is it necessary? But it is good. It is good to question pronouns. And here's one of the things I think why is like, again, going back to what we've been talking about earlier, how culture from, everything before we were born has influenced what we do now. Even when we say things like, hey guys, to a group of people, when clearly, like, I say that to groups of all women, hey guys, can you blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, it's like, let's question that. Like, I'm totally down. Like, let's question the power that's in, I mean, I don't have to tell you the power that's in words as a Black woman, but there is power to words. And questioning why we still say certain things like guys for clearly a group of women, I think it's important. And, I use guys all the time and I'm trying to break my habit, but it's like one of those things that's so ingrained in just our vernacular, our speech, that it's hard to break some of those habits. And I'm trying to be more conscious of it and use things like that are really encompassing, like y'all. And it's funny, there was a meme that was posted the other day about different things you could say, and it was a bunch of insults, but it was general insults like, hey rat bastards, or hey five, a 10 is speaking, like just all this fun stuff that I was like, I could get on with some of that stuff. But
I got something with that though.
Yeah.
So I went to I'm giving it away, guys. I went to the marijuana dispensary, and and it's some fucking guy called me Bud, and
did that set you off? You were just like, I'm not about it.
He did it the first time, and I'm like, all right, it's all right, whatever, Bud, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, what's wrong with Bud? It's genderless, it's nice,
but it's also something you say like antagonistic, like, hey Bud, get out of the way, or like, hey Bud, what's your deal? Like you say it.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, you say buddy to someone who's like your friend. Hey buddy, can you come over here? Like, but when you say Bud, it's like there's an underlying
thing, huh?
Yeah, there's a thing to it, a negative connotation. Yeah.
That's what I thought. But I was like, I don't know this guy. I just said hello. He just said hello. Let me not take it to another level here, because we'll go 0 to 100 quick.
But I hear you, girl. I'm a Virgo. I go to 0 to 100 over. Oh man, someone cut my daughter and me. We were walking in the parking lot the other day, and we were walking, and this guy just comes in and, like, swear to God, a second later would have hit us. I literally had to stop myself from keying this person's car on the way out with holding my little daughter's hand. So I go, no, I hear you. I go to 1 to 100, and I have to talk myself down from being crazy.
Probably why we get along. But I can't stand it. And I'm not sure, like, if I heard like another genderless, although I wouldn't like for anybody to call me sweetie.
But something like hey friend, or hey guest, like there's things you can say, but like you have to be intentional and thoughtful and conscious of that. And people just throw stuff out there, and that I think is part of the crux of the they, them, he, her, all that stuff is just being conscious about the words, what we're saying to people, the words we're saying, and questioning why we may be insulting someone, or you know what I mean, like that kind of a,
or why we seem to consider gender as an important thing. So it's interesting to me because there are two, either I feel like this now movement with respect to looking at gender is like either we recognize it as a thing or we overlook it as nothing, as
Uh-huh.
we're like, that's just a human being.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, there's nothing wrong with identifying a gender. There's
Hmm.
also nothing wrong to me with not identifying it, you know?
Hmm.
Um, but it's interesting because I have a transgender sister. I don't know if I told
Hmm.
you, but
Oh no.
as of 2 years ago,
Oh,
my
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Wow.
my younger sister came out, and so it's been it's been a huge challenge for her for a very long time. But
Yeah.
it's been a challenge for us as a family to understand. And everyone's very open and loves her unconditionally, but it's been a challenge to understand our first of all our insensitivity and
Hmm.
just you know it's just what you said, which is like you've had this sort of thinking for such a long time because of societal norms,
Yeah.
upbringing, whatever it is. And so now you're being, uh,
Asked to challenge those ways of thinking. And I think the best way to think about it for like me and you, who I feel like we're very socially conscious and understanding and modern in the know, is to think of trans rights and people and this pronoun thing as where gay people were 20, 30 years ago.
mm,
I mean, that's how I equate it, where it's like, they are just trying to even be recognized right now and not dismissed, because people are doing the same kind of hate crimes
mm,
to trans people now
yeah,
that was happening to gay people 30 years ago,
yeah,
where, I mean, Black trans women are like, the murder rate and suicide rate for that group of people is crazy high. And I'm sure if you look statistically, it would be similar to what it was, to be a gay person 20 or 30 years ago,
that's a good
with the kind of misunderstanding and like there's just not a lot of tolerance for understanding for that right now.
Mhm.
So I feel like what we're trying to do with trans identity right now is not make it take 30 years like it took for gay people to be recognized as people that are deserving of respect and love and recognition for who they are. We're trying to fast track trans rights, I think, right now. And so that is the thing, like, if your brother or sister was gay 30 or 40 or even 60 years ago, yeah, you would struggle. People were struggling to wrap their head around what that meant, because there just was not a lot of that kind of thing in mainstream society. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
what I'm trying
it does.
to
It's
say?
a very good point that you brought up.
So
You're
I
right.
just feel like that's where it is with trans people right now. It's like, hey, they're just trying to get recognized as being seen as people, and there's a lot more visibility now,
Mhm.
like for people that are coming out and being who they truly are. Like we just had oh my gosh, Ellen Page,
Yeah.
former Ellen Page, come out now as oh my gosh, I forget his name now. It's like I'm sorry, I'm such a bad person. It's like Ethan or something
Yeah.
Page now. Um,
Ethan. I think
I
it's Ethan.
think, right?
Yeah.
Is it Ethan Page? I could be wrong, but yeah, like that was a big coming out. I mean, he is an A-list actor,
Mhm.
and was in a couple of projects that now they're having to try to figure out now. Like he's in a show called Umbrella Academy, and when he was Ellen, he was a female character, and so now they have to kind of figure out, okay, now that you've transitioned and come out as trans, like what does that mean for your character? And it's going to be really, really interesting to see the choices that the show makes and the directors and he himself makes for that character now as being a trans person. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it affects stories and everything else. you
Mm.
know
Yeah.
um
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I just go on tangents.
No, no, I agree. I think it's interesting. Um, I I think, you know, I'm not saying that she was embraced, but I guess what I want to say is that it was very surprising the way I feel like America or maybe the world kind of re-embraced her. I feel like
Mhm.
for maybe someone else of color, um, I don't think I somehow don't feel that it would have been the
I
same.
agree.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't think it would be the same. I mean,
No.
formerly he was a beautiful, talented white woman.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the acting industry, and yeah, I don't think it would be the same if it was a person of color that has coming. Can you think of? I'm trying to think right now. If
Mhm.
there was a very high profile person that has come out and transitioned in like the middle of their career, like a person of color, can you think of any?
That transitioned in the middle of their career?
Yeah, I
No.
can't think of any right now. Like I know some people that like that were trans or that are trans but have been trans like almost their entire career. I'm trying to think of.
Mm-mm.
Uh, I can't
No.
think of anything, and I think part of it is
Yes. Oh my gosh. Lupita.
she's trans.
No, she's not trans. She came out as, I think, pansexual,
Oh,
and she was with someone else who did the same thing. Her name is Janelle something Monet.
okay.
You know, she's a singer, a pretty famous singer. Um,
Yeah.
but she came out as pansexual as well, and they, we kind of found out about that through their relationship.
Hmm.
But that it's also really big for the Black community when something like that happens. We don't really.
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's a little bit easier for women to come out with, saying stuff like they're fluid or pansexual or lesbian. It's a little bit easier. I think it's much harder if they're men.
Oh, agreed, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
know, I I mean, it's true. That is true. I mean, it's been harder to come out even as gay as a Black man,
yeah,
than it is for like a white gay man.
yeah,
I mean that's true.
yeah.
And
But just to circle this all back in, because obviously I think I think what this probably is informing me is that a lot of this conversation surrounding, gender reveals has to do with the fact that we're placing an identity on something or someone that hasn't been able to identify themselves.
to make that choice, yeah,
Yeah. It's not the
themselves.
job of a parent or a friend or whoever, or a priest or whatever, rabbi, to place an identity
Uh,
on.
to foist values and identity and gender on someone that does not have the option. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's people that are rolling their eyes to that are like, yeah, well, we're going to do blue anyway and do pink. Great. But I would say this as to parent, be prepared for anything. Like Amy and I have already talked about, if any of our kids are gay or trans, we are 1,000% going to support them from day one. Whoever they want to be, I don't want them to ever worry that our love is conditional on something like gender that we've assigned them. And it can be hard for parents. Like, for instance, like, and this all has to do with gender. Like, if you give a child a name, but they come out as trans and choose a new name,
Mm,
I can imagine it hurts, that that's their like dead name
mm,
now is the name you gave them. Um, and that can be hard,
yeah.
you know. I had a client the other day I photographed, and they revealed to me that one of their children had recently transitioned and had a new name and stuff, and it's hard on a parent, but it's very hard on them too, to live alive, most of their life until they felt comfortable enough to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. With
Yeah.
that, I think I agree. I think I can say, yeah, that makes sense to me, like, and it has to do, I think, with having had now experienced what it's now, what it's been like for my sister,
Mhm.
I realize, like, but then it makes me think to myself, so what do you do? Like, you don't name the child, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you wait to name the child, or, and I always kind of found that bizarre when people were like, I didn't pick out a name. I just decided to look at her or look at,
Yeah.
my baby and make a decision then, I'm always like,
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, like we're talking about culture and tradition that is tens of thousands of years old,
"Hmm,
names and gender identities, and trying to break that, you know, in 100 years, basically, less than 100 years. That's a tough task. And I don't know if there's any, I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong. You have to call your kids something. I
mhm,
just think it's important that parents be open, 100% completely open and prepared for their kid, because I don't know what the percentage of people end up being trans. I don't know if it's, 1% or 5% or 10%. If I had to guess, it's between 1 and 5%, I would imagine.
mhm."
Um, but just as a parent, being prepared to love and accept your child at any point in their life, if they come out and are just like, hey, listen, I'm actually, I'm a man, and, versus being the girl that you thought they were, the female that you thought they were for their whole life. Um, it's just tough for parents, but it's tougher for that person who's been living a lie. So as long as parents are okay that they might have been wrong in the gender they've assigned, in essence, their kid and the name,
Mm,
I think it's okay to continue to name your kid, and pick colors that you like that might correspond with what you think their gender is, but just be prepared for them to maybe be a 3-year-old who likes blue instead of pink, you
right.
know,
Yeah.
and be okay with that and not force, like, we don't force any colors. Like, I don't say, hey, Penny, this is pink, you should get that. I'm like, what do you want? Do you want blue? Do you want pink? Great. My son, we were at a playground the other day, right? And we make them wear hand-me-downs. And one of his hand-me-downs is his sister's shoes, which happen to be bright purple and pink, right? And he's on the playground and these girls are looking at his shoes and they're like, why are your shoes like that? And just couldn't wrap their head around that this boy was just wearing pink and purple shoes. And one of the girls, like, her parents must have, like, just vaguely explained what a transsexual was, because they were like, oh, maybe he's transsexual. And it's like, these kids
It's
don't know
like,
anything. Like, and I just stopped myself, my Virgo-ness,
yeah,
from
yeah.
getting mad. I was like, just let them be kids and let them bathe in their ignorance. And you don't need to get angry or upset, and you don't need to explain everything all the time. So I
Yeah.
just let it go. And they were sort of making fun of him a little bit. And I would have stepped in if it got to a point where I wasn't comfortable with what they were saying, but it didn't escalate beyond that. They kind of let it go at that point. But, like, I mean, it's that thing where it's like, even for just having different color shoes,
Mm,
kids are making fun of other kids,
mm.
because, oh, you're not wearing the right color. And as a parent, like, it's just, I don't know. You know
That-
what I mean? Just triggers you a little bit sometimes
yeah.
when, kids are being made fun of that and you witness it. Cause, like, that's an interaction that probably happens every day at school. A kid gets made fun of for a color they choose of their backpack or their shoes or their hair or their nails, you
Mm,
know?
yeah.
Um, so, man, yeah, I would just say parents just need to be ready to accept their children for who they are and not who they thought they were,
Right.
you know?
Because it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about raising healthy,
Happy
yes,
individual.
healthy.
If you're happy and healthy, make whatever decisions you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone else or yourself, and are living your truth, you know?
I love that. And on that note, it has been an incredible session with you. We appreciate your, contribution to the show, Jordan. You've
My
been
pleasure. My
special.
pleasure. Always good to talk to you.
Always good.
Oh my gosh, I want to get in on the kinky side of your podcast at some point too. 'Cause I'd love. Oh my god, I could talk about all the sex and fun stuff all day.
I can't.
I love politics too. Like this stuff is good, but
I
I
know.
think people need to
Yes.
be more open about sex. So I love talking about it.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. We will do this again. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. And thank you very much.
Oh my god. Orange is not my new black.